Giggles podcast. Oh, we're back again. I'll just hold up. Let's just admire how good that little intro was right there. Oh, it's like we've got a bloody professional in the house now. I'm pretty stoked with that.
Just so everyone knows, he just pointed at himself.
Yeah.
The whole time.
I'm the professional in the house.
Yeah.
On today's episode, it'll get better. It'll get better as I get better and as we get better. So there's going to be like a 2-minute intro in like 6 months.
No, we're not going to do that to people. We're not going to do that to people.
I don't know. It could be the most entertaining part of the podcast. Who knows? People tune in for the intro just to see the intro getting better and better.
We're out.
Yeah, that was a cool intro. Catch us next week.
It was like when Pokemon used to, I don't know if you watch Pokemon, when Pokemon used to like improve their intro. And I was like, this is the best. It's like a whole new Pokemon. And I was like, hooked again.
Yeah,
like,
see, that's what we're going to do. It's the little hook.
Yeah.
The new intro.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for for another intro.
Probably is 17,000 episodes done.
Oh, sorry. Lucky we're not in the same room because I'd be getting Jono sick. Anyway, in today's episode...
You know that, hang on, you know that you can just click mute when you cough,
I didn't.
right?
Where
Just
do I do
throw that out there. So every time you're going to go, oh, I'm going to cough, you can just mute it and then it won't annoy us as the listeners.
Yeah, I don't know where to do that. And I don't want to press the wrong button and stop recording, so... You know what? We're not even going to edit this out.
That's actually important. No, this is perfect.
So, in today's episode, Jono's kind of throwing me in the deep end. We're talking about mindset, and that's all that he's given me. He hasn't told me exactly what we're talking about to do with mindset. So, on that note, Jono, mindset.
Yeah.
Take it away.
I haven't really thrown you in it. I haven't really thrown you in the deep end that bad. It's mindset, but it's around like certain movements and weights and things that kind of stop you. I don't really know the word. Like I call them like donkey weights because they kind of just like kick back at you. So like for example, everyone was like, "Oh, I want to get the 100 kilo snatch." And then they get to 99 kilos and then 100 kilos just never happened. And it's because that donkey's just like kicking back at them. And so I was keen to chat about this. Yeah. I appreciate that then. I'm going to use a story to you actually might just stop watching just like you did on the CrossFit doco.
Hey. Yeah.
Also though, just so everyone's well aware now, figured out how to mute his microphone, so when he coughs, we will be free. Yeah.
Yep. Unless I want to.
So I appreciate that. Thank you for learning.
Yep. You're welcome. Anyway,
I don't know anyone.
Mindset and donkey numbers and getting kicked at
donkey
100
numbers.
kilos.
All right. Yeah. Well, some people still do. That would be me right now. My story anyway, just to kind of like talk about this, is back at ACC. I was CrossFit Champs. 2019, I think it was. Oh,
that's so long ago.
Events and stuff. I know, was it 19, 20? But the year that COVID kicked in, like 2020. I don't know.
Might have been 2020. No, it would have been 2020 because, it's not even real. He says with COVID. No, I don't have COVID, by the way. Because, that was the same year that, I think it was. Because there was that one and Down Under as the semi-finals. Sorry, sanctionals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I remember qualifying for Down Under.
Cancelled.
And then I didn't go because it got cancelled.
Yeah. Oh, did you pay for your ticket? Did you pay your ticket, your Rego ticket?
No, I didn't.
I did.
No, actually, I think I did.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't refund me. I emailed them so many times, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just do it for you. Like, what we'll do is the next year we'll give you a free ticket if you qualify." And I was like, "Sweet." Well,
that's
confident
that's what they said to me.
And then they didn't even run it again.
The bastards.
Anyways, anyways, so yeah. Anyways, at ACC, so the first event, I smoked my shoulder, absolutely destroyed my shoulder. Thanks for the mute, and I just didn't think that it would affect me that much. And then I ended up just going into the second or third event, and it was snatches, and it was only 85 kilos. Um, and so then, wait, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, well. Okay, cool. It's cut out. Yeah, we can just edit this as well then. Um, yeah, so the workout was like 4 rounds, 400-meter assault run, three 20-foot rope climbs, and I don't even know how many snatches, 7 or 8 snatches, whatever it
So that's
was.
just
I
a
didn't finish
repeat
it.
of
I got
the
time
games
cap.
event.
It was, yeah, it was like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
repeat
yeah.
of it.
Yep, cool.
Yeah, I got time capped. I failed. I legit failed more snatches than I made.
Wow.
That's how bad it was, and I didn't. Yeah, I know, and I didn't think it was the shoulder because I couldn't feel the shoulder pain with the adrenaline and the ibuprofen and the Panadol and whatever else to cover the pain. And it was taped up, so it felt supported, but I just kept failing. I actually blamed my shoes. I was like, it's my shoes. They're useless. I hate them. And I never wore them again. I still will never wear them again anyway. But literally for like the next 2 or 3 years, probably two
Just for
years,
those listening at home,
every
if
time.
you're missing heaps of snatches, please don't go and blame your shoes and throw your shoes away. It's probably not your shoes' fault.
It's you. It's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
losing at this video game. The controller must be screwed. No,
Yeah.
it's you.
Yep.
You suck. But yeah,
Operator error.
it. But this time around, it was actually the shoes. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
every time
definitely.
I came back to, just let people believe it, or let me believe it. Um, yeah, this time when I came back to the snatches for the 85 kilos, every single time, whether it was training, another competition, or anything like that, it would play in my mind that I've failed this weight so many times when it mattered, and I might fail it again. I might fail it again. And I don't think I ever failed it again. Like maybe in training a couple times that I don't actually remember, but in competition, I don't remember failing an 85 snatch. And everyone's like, oh, well,
Well,
obviously it's only 85 kilos.
yeah.
But you know what? I can probably swim better than you. So yeah,
It's
it's
not
up
the
to you.
it's not the point.
You know
You
who I'm
can't
talking
snatch
about.
85.
Yeah, I know.
Because,
Um,
well,
yeah,
like,
and so
especially at your sort of level, like 85, in my opinion, should be like a every day of the week kind of number.
yeah, I don't even
Where,
think that's 60%.
no, not of mine. Probably about 65% of yours. I
Yeah, but
kid,
I'm
I
about
kid.
48% of your body weight. So,
Wow. We going there, are we?
oh, oh, I went there.
Mate,
Yep. Hey,
when
that's
when you
rude.
can show me your 160 kilo clean.
I will.
Oh,
I'll
oh,
send you a
oh,
video
oh,
today.
oh.
Yeah,
For those
yeah.
for those of you who don't know, which is pretty much everyone, but me and John have got a little side bet going on at the moment. We're racing
No
to a
one knew.
160 kilo clean, and we're also racing to a 200 kilo back
200
squat.
back squat.
So
But we raced
one
the
person
200 back
has
squat
got the
after I
two.
had.
One person's got the 200 kilo back squat, and the other person has got a 160 kilo clean. So it's a race
Yeah.
to the other movement.
But the other person, one person has tested both of those lifts many times, and the other person hasn't tested them in a long time.
I haven't tested a back squat in forever. Thank you
Oh,
very
please. All
much.
I see you
I
posting
haven't.
up on social media is back squats.
Yeah, that's
Hey
because all
guys,
I'm
you know
doing
I
is
did back
squatting.
squats? Yeah.
Nah,
And then
I
guess
haven't
what I'm doing
tested.
on Tuesday? Back squatting.
Front
What
squats,
am I doing
actually.
on
Thank you very
Wednesday?
much.
Front squatting.
I feel like we're not talking about mindset very much.
No, we're not. Well, I'm trying, and then you're just talking
Sorry.
shit. Anyways, no. So that was actually a big thing, and that's what I kind of wanted to chat about. Whether it's a donkey weight for you in comparison to what you feel like you should do with the field that you're competing against, or a donkey weight was something that you've just had a struggle with. But this comes down to what I want to chat about is attachments. to certain performances within weights or gymnastics, skill pieces like double unders or crossovers. And I was listening to a podcast, and this girl was talking about, I should say, lady, or them. That they were talking about that
Let's not get
your
that involved.
attachment is the story that you have. Your attachment is the story that comes along with whatever you are doing. So, for example, that 85 kilos, the story behind it for me was that I failed it in that event more times than I made it in that event. And that actually ruined my headspace for the rest of the comp. Like I was like, I
Yeah.
failed, and it just had so much weight on me, and it continued because it was the story that I kept telling myself. And
Mm.
so we have to kind of look at the story that these weights are like attached to, whether it's, oh, my friend has this set amount of clean and jerk or back squat or whatever. Is that the story that's going to be beneficial for you, or is it a
Mm.
story that's not going to be beneficial for you? And that's
That's
a
cool.
huge
I like
mindset
that
thing because
concept.
it puts you in a defeatist mindset, or it doesn't. So that's what I wanted to chat about. But do you have any
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, like, first initial thought on that was when you're saying that your story attached to your 85 kilo snatch is that you miss it so many times at ACC. And instantly in my head, I'm like, that is such a bad thing to attach, because that it's like you're putting that roadblock there by attaching that story to the 85 kilo snatch. So that, like, nothing
100%.
positive is going to come out of that story being attached to your 85 kilo snatch. So I think, like, if I was talking to you about snatching 85 kilos or heavier, I would be like, you need to fucking ditch that story. Like, you need to, it's done, it's dusted, it's in the past, there's nothing you can do about it now, and there's no point holding on to that story anymore. Like, you need to focus on something else. I don't know exactly what that would be, but you need to write a new story for a 90 kilo snatch, something that's not even the same weight anymore. Because it's not like 90 kilos was a one rep for you. You're snatching 120 kilos. So it's like 85 kilos compared to your
No,
one rep.
not anymore.
Yeah, but back then, when you were an athlete. Oh, no, I'm
Oh,
kidding. Nah.
damn.
But
Damn.
back then, like, you had the capacity to snatch 120. So it's like, if 85 is a barrier number for you, a donkey number, whatever you want to call it, like, that's a real problem. But I feel like the story that you've attached to it is more the problem than the physical capabilities.
Oh, 100%. But the thing is like, and this is going to be sound super weird. Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm going to say it because everyone will know, so everyone can know. I was in the shower and I was like staring at my hands, and
What
I'm
did you
like,
had before the
legit, the
shower?
body. Who,
Just so cool, dude.
I promise you, I promise you nothing. I wasn't like, man, my hands are spinning. Whoa.
Have you seen
No,
these
I was
things?
just like looking at him, and I was like, yeah, I've got 5 digits on each hand. No, I was literally like, man, they like our body is literally mechanical. Like, obviously, there's deeper things into it, and all the holistic yogis and everything are gonna be like, no, man, we're spiritual, and yeah, okay, we are, but that's the soul kind of side of things. The flesh and bones is literally just molecules that mechanically work with the way that our mind, or soul, but mind tells it how. So if I'm
Yeah,
telling myself or my physical body that, yeah, okay, this 85 kilos is a failure weight for me, then that's what my body's going to put into it. And people would be like, oh, yeah, harden up. Yeah, I did need to harden up, but it was still something I needed to overcome. And I
yeah,
guarantee you that all I told myself was I needed to harden up, but I needed to find strategies around that because simply
yeah.
just doing it wasn't going to help.
How did you overcome that? What did you
Um,
do to overcome your 85 kilo donkey?
There's plenty of ways. Like, I just had to kind of go back. The first way that I really overcame it was like going back and like watching videos. So I started videoing all my lifts after this, but even looking at older videos and being like, look, I've touch and go this weight for like 5 to 7 reps in the squat snatch, like, and it was fine. Like, I would then go into a competition and be like, all right, this is now my proving platform. And I actually did it at Frantic Day Out the year later. I think it was like 10 squat snatches at 85 on either end of the workout. So 10, so
No, it
20
was
total,
right
I'm
in the
pretty
middle.
sure. And
It
I
was right in the
belt,
middle. I remember that one.
oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
Because
was
you
it in the
caught me
middle?
on the
Yeah. Oh,
fucking
you remember that
handstand
one?
push-ups. I got to the wall before
One
you,
rep.
and you just cycled them a little bit quicker, and you got one. Oh, you bastard! That would have been my like first
Oh no,
fucking
one sec.
event win as well. But no,
You've got
you just
plenty
had
of
to
them
take
now,
that
so
away
we'll
from
give them
me.
to you. Yeah, but we like hugged and everything. We were friends after that. Oh,
Ooh.
ooh.
We were friends before that, but yeah,
Um, Yay. We were better friends
yeah,
after that. And enemies.
yeah, frenemies.
That's where it started getting rocky. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so they were like I looked into the past, which that's a whole different thing to look at or talk about. But and I was like, you know what, I have done this, I can do this. That doesn't define me as an athlete. And that helped sometimes. Sometimes it didn't. Like generally, sometimes it was just a bad day and it just wasn't helping. And then when I came to those points where I had no choice, like in the workout, it's either you do this or you're going to lose the workout. Like there is no ifs or buts. It's you're going to have to do this. And I
Did you
just proved to
find
myself
that?
each time, and each time it helped.
Did you find that adding that pressure in a training session, like it's a do or die kind of moment, that pressure made it worse?
Yes and no. So it depended on like where I was in my own head at the time. So
Yeah.
I like to do all my. So usually I back squat and I snatch on the same day, um, which I'm pretty sure every program does that. Um, and so I usually like to get my back squats done beforehand before I do my snatches to make sure that I'm lifting with tired legs. And so sometimes if I've just like absolutely like given myself like a hernia trying to get these back squats done, then I'll be like, you know what, like if I get to this 85 and it's feeling a bit crappy, then like okay, I'll give myself a little break, but I got to commit to them. And then other times I'll be like, the squats were good. Let's commit to this. If you fail it, you have to redo that set again and you'll keep going. You're not leaving the gym. You're not moving past this section of the program until you complete it. Like it's a, like almost like that's the gateway to the rest of the training that I can do or I get to do.
Yeah, right. Right. Because like I'd never like
Yeah.
dove that sort of deep into it, but I pretty much give myself like markers that are any day of the week. These are like non-negotiable numbers. Like 80% of my
Mm-hmm.
snatch, 80% of my clean are like non-negotiables in a strength setting. Like maybe in a conditioning, if you're trying to cycle through 80% weight for your snatches and you miss one, that's a little bit of a different story. But if you're doing a
Yep.
strength session where
Get
like
that.
you're just snatching or you're just cleaning or you're just doing whatever, technically you should not miss any of these lifts. And then if you do, that's when
Mm.
something needs to be addressed. You need to be filming them and figuring out why you're missing them, or is it like you've just been fatigued from the 4 days prior, or like kind of figure out why you're missing at 80%. Because we've done a fair few sessions where like we do like each week there's a 50-minute session that we do, and at the very end of that 50-minute piece is
Oh
barbell
yeah.
cycling, and it's like heavy. So we've done a few where it's like every 20 seconds for 10 minutes, so 30 reps you're hitting 80% of a snatch or 80% of a power clean. So it's like these are weights
That's
that
cool.
you can hit 30 times. You shouldn't miss any of these weights, and it's like that's a massive amount, well, not massive, but it's a good amount of volume to get in under 45 to 50 minutes worth of fatigue. So that's why like that 80
I think
eighty-five
that's a
percent
solid amount of volume.
80 to 85%. 85 is like, yeah, you're talking that's a little bit heavier. There's a little bit more wiggle room there if you're making a miss, but you still shouldn't be missing it.
Hmm.
But if you can get really, really, really good at hitting 80 and 85% of your lifts, then when it comes time for testing, I think you're going to feel way more comfortable at the top end than if you were just sticking around that 70 to 75%. Or alternatively, if you were just trying to max every single time. So, like that
Yeah.
80 to 85% is like right in the middle where you're hitting enough strength stimulus. So, like the bar's heavy enough and it's still light enough that you can work on the technical stimulus as well. So, like you can finesse your movements. But I don't know whether that kind of plays into the
Mm.
mindset thing, but they're just,
No,
I think
I
that's a
think it
way
does because
to kind of,
I think the
yeah, a way to overcome the mental barrier of the the donkey numbers.
yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of proving to yourself that you can do something, or proving yourself wrong in that sense in a positive way. But like is it the Navy SEALs that they have the saying that you don't rise to the occasion, you drop to the level of your training, or perform like you perform at the level of your training. I can't
Yeah,
remember, and I've
yeah, I
probably
can't
butchered it.
remember
I'm
what it
sorry if
is.
anyone's listening. They're like, "Oh, I know it. It's not right," but
Yeah,
yeah.
you idiot. No.
Um,
Yeah, I
I
know
know.
the
Okay.
one that you're talking about, but it's the same thing. I'd wreck it if I was trying to explain it. But like, it's like when you're at your point of like failure, kind of fatigue. You'll revert back to your training. Okay, yeah, I'm fucking that
Oh
one up
yeah,
as
you
well.
fall to the level of your preparation.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so I think that would be it. So there was like a few ways that like you can do this, or the way that I did this was like looking in the past, you prove yourself in the present moment, and also by doing that is like literally training at that weight, or just under that weight, or just over that weight. Now, if it's a PB, obviously that's going
yeah,
to come down to you just dialing it in, because I think mindset is very, very, very powerful. But mindset for me is and it sounds like David Goggins. Man, I actually listen to him a lot because I think I've brought him up every episode so far. Is he talks about cookies in the cookie jar? Is that
yeah.
once you do something hard or over and over and over again, you're putting cookies in the cookie jar. So when you
And
need it,
that's why he was so
there's a
fat.
cookie in the cookie jar that you can have it.
All the cookies in the cookie jar.
Maybe that's why he uses the food analogy, because he's
Yeah,
still secretly a fatty.
yeah. I don't think
Uh,
that's the case, but yeah. Um, I feel like if it depends on the weight. So like if your donkey number, let's take a 100 kilo snatch for example, and your one rep is 110 or 105, or it's like really close to
mhm.
that 100 kilos. I feel like that's quite. It could be a detrimental donkey number to have in your head, because it's not
Yeah.
necessarily a fair thing to have that expectation to be able to hit 90% or higher of your one rep max on a regular basis. Like that's a lot of
Mm.
people can't hit 92-95% of their one rep max all the time. So if that's what your expectations are, just because 100 kilos is what you want, then I don't think that's a smart, like, it's not really a surprise that 100 kilos is your donkey number if 105 is your max. It's like, I think
Yeah.
you need to spend time at that 85% and get really, really comfortable hitting a moderate weight, repetition, 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 until they look perfect, until they feel perfect. And then you build the confidence at a good weight. And then when you go to test in 3 months' time, that little bit extra, like, you're not going to feel the weight difference,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
completely agree.
the confidence.
Mm.
I
Well,
yeah, I don't really verbalize it very much, but I have in the last episode and this one now. It's like well, not the last one, but anyway, the confidence that you build in 6 months leading up to whatever it is going to be so much more powerful than like trying to cram for the test and jamming it in the last 2 weeks for if you've got an event coming up, for example.
yeah.
Like building for that event 6 months prior to, like trusting the process and just crunching it out for 6 months prior, you're going to feel way more confident than if you were like a month out, say, oh, I'm going to jump in and do this comp and I'll start prepping now. Like, of
Oh,
course you're going to, and it happens all the time.
the
Like,
amount of people that do that
it's
is
the six
so
P's.
frustrating.
Prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
Annoying.
But yeah, it does. Like, the more you plan and stick to the plan leading up to something, the more confident you're going to feel leading into
Hmm.
it. And
Yeah.
confidence plays a massive thing in your mindset.
Ooh,
If
have
you're not,
you? There's a book called Confidence is a Liar. Ooh, Harriet Roberts actually told me about it, and it's I can't
yeah,
remember who
right.
writes it. They're talking about how, and it. I would say it's more about overconfidence. Um,
Yeah, right.
like so you have the extremes of like overconfidence or arrogance or even ignorance, and then complacency. So
Yeah.
you have the extremes. You need to obviously be in the middle. But either
I
way,
think
you
I
know,
wouldn't like to be in the middle personally.
no.
I would I would like to err on the edge of overconfidence and arrogance because
Mhm.
arrogance has such a bad stigma to it. People think that if someone's arrogant, they're an asshole, they're obnoxious, and they can't have a like they're not a reasonable person. But there can definitely be an element of arrogance that isn't being a dick at the end of the day. Like you can be, and having that little bit of arrogance in what you're doing can improve your confidence as well. And then if a heightened, obviously to an extent, like you don't want to be a fucking absolute dick, just being an arrogant motherfucker the whole time. But I think a little sprinkle of
A little
arrogance,
sprinkle of salty.
um, yeah, if it's used correctly, because arrogance in and of itself isn't a bad trait. It's it can be though, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be.
Well, that's like the tattoo I got on my hand is like people ask about it. Obviously, the line's fairly basic, but the little warrior helmet.
Mm.
I got that just to remind me because it's Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson talk about it, and it's like it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And
Yeah,
so, and a dangerous man can still be a kind man, and that is what makes him dangerous. Is that you can be arrogant, you can be
yeah,
like a weapon or whatever, but you don't have to carry yourself like that in front of people. Obviously, you don't want to take shit and don't want to be like a pushover,
yeah.
but yeah, you don't have to be an absolute knob.
But like, I don't think anyone would say that Matt Fraser was a dick, but
Uh,
he was arrogant. Okay, you might because you're a dick
no,
and you just
no,
disagree with everything that I
it's not me.
say.
It's not me. Just different
but
people. But
but I
yeah,
don't think that like at large, most people aren't going to be like, yeah, he was a dick, he was so arrogant, rah, rah, rah. But he was like he had a level of arrogance to himself, but he had earned that with his accolades,
oh
like
my
what he had
goodness, yes.
achieved. He had the right to be arrogant, but also I think that's what drove a little bit of his success was he carried himself with a little bit of arrogance in there as well. He's like, "No, I am the man. I am the shit.
Mm.
This is my event."
To be an
So like,
athlete, I think you need to have, and we've spoken about this before. I think you need
probably.
to have a level of arrogance, but not
You just said
arrogance in
before
the.
that you have to be in the middle.
Yeah,
You
that
you
doesn't
should
mean
you
you have
should be in the middle.
complacency. Complacency is no
You got to
arrogance.
get away from that shit.
No.
Get up the other end.
No, I think you need to have a level of it because if you're not going to believe in yourself, why should anyone else believe in yourself? Like
Yeah.
100%. So I think you do need to. I just think you just don't have to be an absolute asshole about it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to be. You can
Mm.
be arrogant and not be a tool.
Yeah, but you can still throw shade. That's fine.
Yeah, see, like I think throwing shade is it like and banter. That's a whole different thing. I think we talked about this in a
Probably.
different episode. But
I
yeah,
don't know.
it's
Oh well,
throwing
we're
shades.
allowed.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, man.
That's yeah, that's not necessarily being arrogant.
No,
But,
I don't
but,
think.
but
I don't think it's being arrogant. I think it's just being funny.
yeah, yeah, it's like taking the pressure away from the scenario as well.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
cause everyone's kind of go, go,
God,
go, go, go.
do you reckon? No, we'll talk about this off air. Don't
No,
worry.
go on.
No, no,
You
no,
can't
no,
leave me
no.
hanging like that.
No,
Come
no.
on.
Oh, God, I'm leaving everyone else hanging. I'll talk to you later about it.
All right.
But yeah, so I think it also comes down. And this is probably going to be pretty boring for people to hear, but I think it comes down to a lot of just doing the boring stuff to help with your mindset because confidence, or like, sorry, proper repetition builds confidence. So some people they
Yeah.
want to get like a muscle up for the first time, and they just jump up and try and fail. Or do the low ring transitions, do the strict pulling and strict support and pressing movements that you need to do to give your body the physical like attributes to be able to do it. And then
Mm.
mentally going to be like, okay, well, the fear of me going over and through the rings, if we're using rings as an example, isn't there because I know I can catch myself in the bottom of the ring support. And when I'm at the top, I know I can hold myself in a ring support. So that
Yeah.
double unders, like just practice. Like it's just practice after
Mm.
practice. And you know what? Getting whipp's okay. Sometimes it's fun. Just
Some people
depends
like
on,
that.
yeah.
But I'm probably gonna get a bit of hate for this, but I feel like people just aren't fucking toughen up. Like people
Oh,
just don't
yes.
have. People are so fucking soft nowadays. They'll like whinge about not having a muscle up. But like, yeah, you need to work on your dip strength. Like you catch yourself in the very bottom of the dip. You can get your transition, but you can't dip out. And it's like, yeah, I know. Well, oh, okay. Is that it? You
Is that
just
it? Like,
what?
yep.
The tooth fairy going to give you fucking dips next week? Are they? No. Like go in the corner and do some fucking dips. Like pull your head out of your ass and like fuck me. Some people
You know
just
what
like
though?
a lot of people. They just don't have the mindset to grind through things. No, you're not going to be
Yep.
able to do no dips to being able to do 5 dips within a week from doing one session of dips. No, you're going to have to work at it for a while.
Hold
Get in
up.
the corner.
Unless you've just started training within the first 2 weeks, then you will after one session go from doing like none or one to
Yeah.
five.
If there's a
Yeah.
technical deficiency,
Yeah.
not a strength deficiency,
Or if
yeah.
you've been at the game for a long time, those improvements aren't coming that quick.
Yeah. But I'm
Yeah,
like,
man.
I'll take me for example, because I'm the man. No, I'm
The
not
man
trying
of
to float
being
my own
a
boat or
pussy.
anything.
Yep. Go
But
for
yeah, I'm the softest one here.
it.
Nah, it's like the wall facing strict handstand push ups, for example, earlier this year.
hmm
Like it took me 6 minutes to get 20 done. Do you think I'm gonna be? Oh, I suck at wall facing handstand push ups. I hope they don't come up in the next comp, and then just expect them to get better from doing normal handstand push ups. No, I've been
Mm.
every opportunity that we've had in training to do handstand push ups. If they're kipping handstand push ups, I've been facing a wall doing strict handstand push ups, strict
Yep.
wall facing handstand push ups every single time because I'm going to have a transfer into my normal strict handstand push-ups into my kipping handstand push-ups. So I'm like, I'm making a decision now to sacrifice my training so I get better at wall facing strict handstand push-ups. And
hmm
people just aren't willing to do it.
Yep.
People are just too soft. They expect way more out of the training that they don't put enough effort into.
Yeah, I don't think people
And
will understand, and I didn't understand. I think I have a better idea now, and I don't still don't think we either of us understand to another level of how much effort athletes are putting in, or people are putting in general, the successful people in life, but athletes in this conversation are putting in to overcome their weaknesses.
oh yeah,
Like
it's
it's a
ridiculous.
huge thing. Their donkey movements are like getting drilled like
Yeah.
almost daily if they
Yep.
can.
But you have to, like, and especially at that level, like, I wouldn't see. I'm back to classifying myself as like I'm not even a like semifinals athlete anymore, and I'm still doing that. But it's
Oh,
like,
just
but
you
no,
you
like
are,
the guys
man.
that are at a whole nother level
Yeah.
have to put their training to a whole nother level.
hmm
So yeah, I just think that like, and the mindset that you get from doing that is like you can't really get it from doing it any other way. Like
Yeah.
if you know that I've ground out and for the last 6 months, twice a week, I have done like progressions and stupid amounts of volume doing this movement that I fucking suck at. So when this comes up in a competition, I have the confidence to absolutely annihilate that in the next comp.
hmm
But like that will only aid in your mindset in how you prepare for the comp as well.
Like it, and if
They go
people want,
hand in
I don't know
hand.
how people argue this. I don't know how they'll argue, but oh, people might be like, oh, but I don't have time to work on the weaknesses. It's like you do,
All
like
right, cool.
you
Stay
find
shit then.
opportunities.
Well, like
Just
fuck.
well, no, like our
No, it
previous
is.
episode, we spoke about like one of my rules is find one thing you can get better at each day within training or whatever. Like if the workout comes out, like you're just doing class workouts and you rock up and it's handstand push-ups and you need to work on your strict or your wall facing, then do them. Don't care
Yeah,
what your score is going to be on the leaderboard and the class leaderboard. Don't even put it on the leaderboard if you're going to be that sensitive about it, and just
yeah,
do your training. Like just train, because if you've done it and someone else hasn't, when it comes to the open or the quarters or the semis or like
whatever it is. Yeah,
whatever, it's going to show. And you're going to be
yeah.
damn grateful that you actually did the hard work from the start, or at
But
least
I think
halfway through.
yeah, a lot of people expect results way quicker than what the reality will give it to them.
Yeah,
So
I
they'll be
think
like,
that's the
I've been
problem
doing
with
this for
CrossFit.
4 weeks. I'm like, yeah, yeah, dude, you've been doing it for 4 weeks. What do you want?
Yeah,
Like, you're not going to go from being able to do 3 reps to 10 reps in
yeah.
4 weeks.
I think the
You,
problem with CrossFit is when you first start it, or even the first like through few years, like 3 or 4 years, because there's so many aspects to it. Like you can be like, oh, sweet, I'm smashing my like. Everyone usually smashes their gymnastic stuff fairly quick because it's body weight stuff. It's a lot. Well, it's a more skill based thing, not a strength based thing generally. And so when then they start focusing on their strength and they start PBing all their strength, and then because they're stronger, their technique gets easier when it comes to the technique, the gymnastic stuff, and so they're constantly PBing, and then bam,
yeah,
no more PBs.
plateau.
There's the big plateau. CrossFit holds it off because there's so much to focus on, and you're like, what do I do now? And that is where the grind really starts. And I think that separates a lot of people. And I think that's why you see a lot of the guys, whether it's in Perth or whatever, that are at the top, they're staying at the top
Yeah,
because they're doing it.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
what a
just a
rant.
mentality of it is. Well, yeah, it is kind of like I don't know if we completely stayed on the mindset topic, but like it does. It's like it's a mentality that you have to be successful in the space. I think.
And I love it because it's probably, and those that are closest to me would probably be able to attest to it as well. Like when I was cycling, I could hold, like, well, we trained for our, like, usually our races, even when I was in juniors, was like 80 to 140 kilometer races. Like they were long. And so it was just zone two. You have your poker face and you just stay in that zone two. And whoever would break. You'd have a few like sprints throughout, blah, blah, blah. But it was fairly comfortable. You got good at one thing, and that was zone two.
Yeah,
Yeah. When it came to
you
CrossFit, I
don't
was
get
kind of
that in
like, oh,
CrossFit. Yeah,
no, like, yeah, you do zone two. Well, some people do zone two to recover from CrossFit, which I don't entirely agree with. But it's not a zone two. It's a power output, pain, like threshold training all the time because you are
yeah.
competing above your threshold every single time. And you just got to get used to that. And it sucked to humble myself to realize, okay, like this is something I'm really, really bad at, is actually going into that pain cave. I'm going to have to learn if I want to keep improving. Because,
Is that a bad
yeah.
narrative to attach to that story though?
Um,
Oh, I'm so
no,
bad at that. Blah, 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 blah. Like,
no, well, I think it depends on my
is
view. So I see things and I'm like, oh, I'm really like thrusters for ages. I was just really shit at them. And I was like, oh, thrusters, I got to get good at them. They still scare me a bit because I know the pain I'm going to go through, but it's probably the pain I know I can go through on them now.
yeah.
And so then it, it motivated me to do them more.
You
That's
just
all.
got a picture in your head of back at games day when you're doing 60 kilo thrusters and you got this
Yeah.
animal coming up behind you. Oh, blah, blah,
It's
blah.
like, yeah,
Get
yeah.
overtaken on the second last thruster.
Well,
Oh, what a
I'm
moment.
just gonna let you have
A
it. Yep,
moment in Perth CrossFit history. Whew.
that was like a payback for that handstand push-up scenario. There we
I
go.
think you
Now
got
we're
that
even.
was after. Yeah, right. Thanks.
I'm pretty sure it was after. Yeah, I
All
think
right.
it was.
Well, I think we've rambled on a little bit too long again. Can we
You know
have a
what
habit of
though?
doing that?
It was exciting.
It was
We got
different.
quite emotional in this one.
Got heated.
Mm.
Please don't hate me for my opinions.
And if you do, just keep listening anyway, so you can hate him more.
Yeah, listen to Jono. All right. We're
Oh,
going to leave it
whatever.
there. In the bottom, if you are watching this on Spotify or listening to us on Spotify, we have left down the bottom if there's anything you want to hear us talk about or if you've got any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Same with if you're watching this on YouTube. Or alternatively, if you want to shoot us a DM on Instagram, you can do that there as well. Gains and Giggles. All right. We're out this
Beautiful.
week.
See you guys. Thank you.